is a process of decisions podcast. This is Trent Thomas, your recovery peer support specialist, and tonight's episode is entitled Sustaining Recovery Involves Admitting Mistakes. A man that makes a mistake and doesn't correct it is making another mistake. To err is human, to forgive divine. These are some of the most remembered slogans involving mistakes. Something I have personally learned is that we must first forgive ourselves for the mistakes we have made. You see, in every mistake is an opportunity to do better. There is an immense joy in building something from scratch. To dig ourselves out of mistake-riddled past completes us and installs a mountain of confidence and completeness. The greatest joy is achieved in observing the works of one's own hands. In every building effort is recognition of one's own errors. These mistakes can be great works of art if built upon the legacy of one's admitted errors in order to achieve the greatness of one's own imagination. Making mistakes leads us to greatness, as each mistake forges new pathways of thinking. Great minds think alike. They are littered with inevitable mistakes. A mistake can be imagination reimagined. We must think anew in order to correct a mistake in one's own mind. To correct a mistake takes humility, because one must first accept the fact that a mistake has been made and that it is you that is guilty of the mistake. God is a lover of recovery because he accepts the fact that man is error prone and most often must recover or change direction in his movements of life. For God, a slip is not a fall. In fact, each slip is a new opportunity to display godlike qualities of humility, submission, forgiveness, and admission that we all must depend on a power greater than ours to correct our errors and mistakes. Mistake is defined as an action, statement, or judgment that is wrong or produces an unintended result. A mistake can be caused by a lack of knowledge, carelessness, or poor judgment. Mistakes are inherent to man's very nature. In fact, human error is inevitable, unpredictable, and unintentional failure in the way we perceive, think, or behave. It does not involve behavioral choice, but rather is distinctive to the very nature of man. Man is not perfect. We make mistakes constantly, unintentionally, and unavoidably. These mistakes can be life-threatening and life-ending. The fact that we make mistakes generates a need to put in place steps and procedures that assist in avoiding mistakes and mitigate the seriousness of the damage done by the actions of mistakes. We have created an entire industry devoted to handling man-made mistakes. Just take a look at the car. In a car, you will see the need for brake lights, headlights, turn signal lights. All these devices are created to avoid mistakes or errors caused by humans. The creation of bumpers mitigates the seriousness of a low-speed crash. The creation of airbags mitigates the harm produced by high speed collisions. These safety devices are all created because of the human nature to make mistakes. Each of these devices were created after viewing such mistakes and the harm these mistakes caused. Imagining the means to fabricate devices to prevent or mitigate the seriousness of harm was the object of entire companies and thus the creation of the safety industry. Mistakes lead us to imagine new pathways of avoiding such mistakes and then reducing the harm caused by these mistakes. Even in making mistakes, God shows his genius in creating within man a means to reimagine mistakes into pathways of success. Thus, where there are mistakes, there exists the imagination to do better. A slip does not have to be a fall. In fact, it could be a bridge to do better. Recovery is recognition of past mistakes and instituting the process to just do better. Recovery is a minute to minute, day to day decision to just do better. Recovery includes not repeating the same mistakes of the past and thus producing a valued and joyful life. Being a productive, instrumental member of society is the goal of those in recovery. Making the next right decision is the intended measurement for all that are members of the sustained recovery community. One cannot change the mistakes of the past, but one can endeavor to move forward by just doing better. Making better decisions, thus receiving more rewards and less consequences, is the mandate for living a sustained life of recovery. This has been another episode by Trent Thomas on Recovery is a Process of Decisions podcast. Please leave your enlightening comments on transnetrecover.com/podcast and follow me on Facebook and Instagram as Transnet Recover.